Hello everybody, Jacob here. So welcome any of my new viewers to this channel. It's good to have you here. If you're a regular viewer, well then I just want to let you know, spoiler alert. I'm coming to you real time pretty much. I have successfully made it all the way back to Oregon, and I am hard at work on Resurrection every day and filming all that. Lots of new things going on there. But also a lot to tell you about my winter, about momentum and so forth. And so I'm going to still narrate you through all that over the next videos. And starting today, I'm going to tell you about what happened over the winter and get you caught up just quick as I can. So I think I'm going to do my best to publish twice a week until you're caught up to real time. And so look for videos instead of just on Saturdays. Look for videos maybe on Wednesdays too, something like that. I'm gonna keep doing every Saturday, and then see if I can't give you a video every other, in between the weeks also, just to get you caught up as quick as possible. So let's move right along and get to it.
A new place, a new home for a while. Let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back. Take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by. Life is good, best I've ever felt.
And update also for everyone. If you've been following along, you're familiar with the RV Finn. Well, I did get moved back into Finn. Done a lot more projects to Finn, and Finn has taken me all the way back here to Oregon. So yeah, Finn, I'll have some videos coming up on that, but as you can see, that's where I'm at. Anyway, I am pretty much 100% certain at this point that I'm selling the RV Finn. The last time I said I was selling it, I had a couple people say, hey, I'm interested. Well, anyway, it's officially that I'm selling Finn this summer, and I've done a bunch more work to Finn. So Finn is an incredible RV at this point. And I do have a tour video that's already on my channel that will show you pretty much, most of it. But anyone who's interested, I'll put my contact information on this video, maybe my email down below. I figure it out. And so get with me and let me know if you would be interested in purchasing Finn, because it is a pretty amazing thing. And Finn is located currently in Oregon, and so if that's close enough that it can work for you, then look at my information. Until then, let's get to the current video. And so you're going to join me back in Virginia right after I traveled from Oregon to Virginia. So let's pick up there. So here's momentum out of the water day before splash day. Last few things getting done on it. Bottom paint looks real nice. Underwater lights, our new ones are coming in. There's little holes for them. Nice chance to get a look at the bottom. There's the beautiful Ultra anchor. Little, not quite as shiny as it could be, but it's looking pretty good. So along with the getting all the work done on momentum prior to splashing in the water, I did also hire a surveyor to do a bottom survey on the boat, knowing that we would be selling it, and I didn't want to have the boat hauled out again. So yeah, so you see here we've got the surveyor doing his thing, and the guy's finishing all the work. Well, momentum's going in the water this morning. Definitely ready for that. It's been a while since I've been on there. I'm so happy to be back to the boat. So they've been working their tail off, getting her ready to go. I'll show you how that's looking. Underwater lights, brand new and just installed. Bottom paint, fresh. Things looking real good. They just completely sanded down the sail drives and put a nice coating on there and the props. New anodes. Inspected everything, serviced everything. So yeah, she's looking real good. Filthy, of course, from being on the hard, but definitely ready to go in the water and get her washed up. I don't know why, but it's still amazing to me that something this heavy can sit just on a couple spots on its keels and it's no problem. It's pretty crazy. Think how strong these things are. This boat weighs, you know, many tons, so it's pretty crazy. So, you know, for all the work that I had done on momentum before we splashed, the one thing that we never investigated or had checked out was the impellers on the cooling system. And so wouldn't you know it, as soon as we splashed, one of the motors wasn't circulating in liquid, and so we had to come out of our slip with just one motor and dock with just one motor, which I did actually use the other motor just briefly to safely like maneuver, but yeah, that turned out to be kind of a hassle, and then that was the very first thing I had to tackle once the boat was at a dock. So while I was at Severn Marina after splashing, obviously getting the cooling system sorted out on the one motor was essential, and I got immediately on top of that, changing out the impeller, but it was kind of a pain in the neck because all the bits of the impeller got all jammed through everything, and so it took a long time to clean all that out. But the other thing is, while I was at the dock getting the boat just spotlessly clean and ready to potentially be ready for sail, because that was the primary mission. So yeah, I just worked my ass off, washing and cleaning and scrubbing and polishing and then fixing things, and naturally just every time you put a boat on the hard, every time you stop using something, you have problems. So then I was having a little problem with the water pump, and so I replaced the water pump on the boat. And so anyway, yeah, a lot of little things that go through. I didn't really film much of it, but yeah, I had a couple weeks at Severn Yachting Center, and the nice thing is that during that time, Riley, my stepson, flew in to help me. So by the time I left Severn, I had company with Riley. Anyway, after getting all the things resolved at the marina, we were anxious to get the boat off of the dock and stop paying dock fee, and so we cruised over to Norfolk and anchored in the harbor right outside of downtown Norfolk. And that was the first stop after getting the boat back on the water, and that was kind of a fun place to anchor for a little while. Dolphins! There they are, right? Look at the size of that thing. Holy crap. That is a legit cruise liner, and I don't know where it's going, but it's just sitting here in front of downtown Norfolk. So what I'm wondering is, when the cruise ship is that huge, and they pulled into the channel here, and it's time to leave, I mean, how do they turn around? I mean, you can't go up the intercoastal in that thing. So do they back out? I guess this is a question that we're going to find out, because this thing's getting underway. So far they're just going forward, so maybe they can go down that channel. I don't know. It's like an awfully big ship going further inland. Well, he's headed that way. That's what I know about that channel. There's bridges and stuff down there. I mean, eventually you run out of room for something that big, so I gotta think they turn around somewhere. Maybe there's enough room right here and right out there in that bay to turn around. I guess we'll see. So I get the feeling they are going to try to turn around right there. It's not super obvious yet, but I'm watching the rear end swing our way. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, look at that thing spin. It's pretty crazy. Now they got the wind at their side. I'm sure that's exciting. Pretty strong wind today. So now they're crosswise across the channel. But it's wide enough at that spot apparently. This is where the two channels come together. This little sailboat's zooming along here under motor. He's like, what the heck? Yeah, they just about got her all the way around. Freaking cruise ship's so big it blocks out the tall buildings on land. I think it even towers over the military ship and the dry bays right behind it. It's crazy. So while I was in Norfolk, I did make a friend there in Virginia, good friend named Laura, who actually was able to come on board and help us sail south. So I had Riley on board and I had Laura on board. Neither of them were big on being on film, so there is no video of them. I'll probably post a few pictures in here at some point, but yeah, so with Riley and Laura both on board, we had adequate crew on board to sail south. And so yeah, the first leg of the trip was sailing south around Cape Hatteras, and it was a legit sail. I'll tell you, sailing in the winter is definitely different than summer. Legit weather, legit wind. Yeah, it definitely earned my sailing legs sailing south in the wintertime. So just a little video to show just how nice this boat sails. We got wind that's gusting over 20, but sustained about 15 to 20, and you know, we have a shorter mast, so the sail's always reefed. But even with it reefed, we always haul ass. I mean, it's a fast boat, really. I mean, right now, cruising in the 8 knot range, 8 to 9. And this boat loves to run in the 8 to 10 range. And the wind, we had a pretty good wind angle. And it's been creeping up over 20, but for the most part, under 20. Beautiful seas, calm today because the sun coming in off the land, so perfect conditions really. This is about the slowest we've sailed in this whole trip down the coast. Hard to believe, but yeah, it's true. And then she's dropped down a little bit to the 7s. And the wind's dropping down a little bit, but still, yeah, down under 15 now. We get the gusts going, and then we sometimes we'll get up over 8, and then we slow down a little bit. But yeah, anyway, that's how she sails. She's a pretty fast boat. Pleasure to sail. High bridge deck, so there's virtually never any slapping. It's really a nice sail. So I wasn't over the winter of 22 to 23. I wasn't really feeling much like filming, and I was pretty much solely focused on just getting momentum fixed up as nice as I could and sold. And so yeah, it's unfortunate because that sail south around Cape Hatteras was I mean, it would have been epic footage, that's for sure, if if there'd been any filming going on, but we sailed around. Unlike, if you remember the video of us sailing north around Cape Hatteras, well, it was like perfectly calm and sunny and warm and beautiful, and it was interesting. Well, sailing south around Cape Hatteras, we came through in the middle of the night and stormy conditions and high seas, and it was a pretty epic sailing. And yeah, so Riley was on watch for the first part of that, woke me up at 2 in the morning, and at 2 in the morning we're just rounding Cape Hatteras, and so like in my bathrobe, helming at the helm of the boat, uh, and it's raining and there's lightning and the weather's huge. It was pretty crazy, and it was fine. I mean, the boat handled it fine, and Laura just slept right through it, and Riley didn't know any different, and he just went to bed, and so it wasn't like it wasn't anything we couldn't easily handle really, but it was a pretty exciting time, and so I had to jibe the boat essentially to turn the corner on Cape Hatteras, and so yeah, I just had to work some sails, and honestly the wind was so strong. Once I got the head sail in, I certainly wasn't going to try to point into the wind in those conditions. It was crazy. So once I got the head sail in, the wind was so strong, I just left the head sail in at that point, just to try to depower the boat a little bit, and with the wind angle, it was fine. So I believe we're actually running a motor then, anyways, to try to make some power. So with already a motor going, we didn't need any more power, that's for sure. So anyway, yeah, the trip around Hatteras was exciting. Anyway, the most exciting additional part of that is, we were towing the dinghy because little Percy was up on the davit. Anyway, we were towing the dinghy, and about 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, somewhere around there, going around Cape Hatteras, the dinghy, what do you call it, the metal or the aluminum of the dinghy, where the rope hooked on, finally just gave up, and yeah, so the dinghy let loose literally at sea at night around Cape Hatteras in a storm, and of course there was no way to know that, couldn't see it. So the next morning, I'm just like sipping my coffee or whatever, and I'm like looking out, and I realize something's missing behind the boat. All I see is the line for the dinghy and a piece of dinghy flopping around on the waves, and I'm like, oh crap, the dinghy's at the bottom of the sea. And the dinghy wasn't, the most valuable thing in the world, an older dinghy, but the motor was a brand new Suzuki, fuel injected Suzuki. So, that was kind of a bummer. But anyway, about that time, literally within like an hour of sunrise, my phone rings, and it's U.S. Coast Guard calling to say, hey, are you missing a dinghy? And that, just that time frame, the dinghy had washed up in a national park on Cape Hatteras, and the Park Service looked up, or called the Coast Guard, who looked up the information on the dinghy and got my number off there and gave me a call. So yeah, so then I had a real dilemma, because sailing north in those conditions was not conceivable. I mean, it was a rough sail as it was. We weren't going to sail north or back around Cape Hatteras or into the Cape Hatteras National Park to try to pick up the dinghy. So we ended up pulling into a harbor in yeah, that's right. Our first stop going south was in Morehead City, which I actually liked quite a bit, and I had to really figure some stuff out in Morehead City. So I ended up renting a pickup truck and buying a small trailer, driving the 180 miles around to Cape Hatteras National Park, picking up the dinghy, driving it back. Luckily, it survived mostly unscathed. Anyway, so then relaunched the dinghy and hauled Percy out. Decided that towing was just not going to be a good option anymore, and so put the dinghy back on the davit, put Percy into storage in North Carolina, and continued my trip south. Left Percy there, secured in North Carolina. So Yeah, that was quite a couple of days, that's for sure. But in the end, we weren't towing anymore, and the dinghy was safe and sound, and Percy was safely stored. So it worked out in the end. Anyway, guys, I think that's definitely a long enough video for this week, and so I'm gonna let you guys go now. And next week, I'm already got you lined up. I'm gonna do a full tour of Momentum because I've never done that, and I had done it for the purposes of selling the boat anyway, so I have the footage. And so next week we'll do a full tour, and then the video after that, maybe even if I accelerate this, we'll get 2 of these in a week. But after that, then will be more about my trip sailing south all the way down to Savannah, and the process of selling the boat. So so that's all to come in the next couple of videos. And so if you would please put a like on my video if you made it this far. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, do that. Everything you do helps a little bit to keep this going for me. So yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone hanging in there with me, and I'll get you caught up and onto some more exciting things here pretty quick.